Wowza! And bingo, bammo, here we are. It would be the second day of October 2024. I would be Dogface.
I would be Joe Mommy.
And this is episode 13. Welcome. Thank you so much. This is what we have to discuss today. People, believe it or not, who are not smart are stockpiling toilet paper once again. So we'll discuss that. We got to talk about which TV show or movie that you'll never, ever watch, no matter how many people go, oh, my God, you haven't seen that movie? You're not watching this show? Even though you should watch it, it's really popular. You still haven't for some reason. We'll talk about that. I've got a list of some shows that I can. I'll just, spoiler alert, still haven't seen anything beyond the first Star Wars episode, the one that came out in 1977.
You're such an idiot.
There's no reason.
No kidding.
And we're going to talk about all these celebrities, man. They're dropping like flies. We're going to do a RIP roll call right off the bat. And then we're going to discuss this. This is big stuff. You know, last night we had the VP debate, but we're going to talk about what you call potatoes on bread with roast beef on top covered with gravy. All right. I think in different regions of America, they call it different things. But somewhere in the Midwest, this is weird. I've never heard this thing called that. So we'll discuss what I've always thought was an open-faced sandwich and a bunch of other stuff.
Okay.
And more. Yesterday, Joe and I, we put the picture up of Pete Rose. Pete Rose passed away yesterday. Actually, I think day before, but we discussed. And Chris Christopherson on Monday. And right when we got off with the podcast yesterday, we saw this. American picker star Frank Fritz dead at the age of 60. So,
man.
Yeah, we've got a few of them to go through today. There he is. And they're saying on the reports that Mike Wolf was bedside, or at least by his side. And
really?
I guess that's what they're saying. And I don't know if that's Mike Wolf trying to put a good face on this because he's still doing the show. There was a lot of fighting. In 2021, I guess he had a stroke. He had all kinds of different health issues. And they're not saying a specific cause of death yet, but he did die age 60.
He was looking rough there towards the end, too, that Frankie Fritz, man. That was sad.
Yeah, and I don't remember. I think there was some alcohol, some pills stories that were popping, and they were fighting, and I guess he left the show and was trying to get help, or he was sick. He had like a back surgery, and it just all went downhill. And Mike Wolf speaks really nicely of him now that he's no longer with us, and I guess he was hanging out at the hospital with him, but I haven't watched that show in I don't know how long.
I think it's on right now.
Like on TV right now somewhere?
Yeah, on History Channel. I think is today is the Pickers Day.
And did they still have the tattooed girl that like ran the store, but then she was going out buying stuff?
Yep. She's still on it with them. And then the brother. And then they have a guy that used to hang out with them. He's like a skinnier dude, and he would go on picks with them. He was kind of squirrely. I forget what his name was, but they've like gone to other pickers and kind of brought him in.
Extended it.
To form teams, if you will.
And there was also a blonde girl that came in, and she was then running the store. And then the tattooed dark hair girl, she was going out more. And
what was her name, that tattooed dark-haired girl? What's that girl's name?
I can't remember.
Not Dorothy. I can't think of her name.
Anyway, she, and then I guess there was a big exposure saying that she was never a picker. She was like doing porn dancing, or she was a stripper or a burlesque girl. And they kind of picked her up for her looks because she was into, I guess, going to estate sales, or I don't know. She liked the show. And there was some rumor that they just brought her in. And they brought her in because of how she looked, and then they put her on the show, and she didn't really work there. And that the blonde girl you saw later, she did. I don't know.
Wasn't her name Danny?
Danny, that's right. I think so.
Danny, yeah.
So I don't know. I never thought they call this guy a reality veteran, and I'm not going to take anything away from him. It was a fun show to watch, but I don't really know what he added. He just kind of drove around and, you know.
I don't know that he really added
anything
much. I don't want to. It sounds crappy to say that, but I don't know. I don't know if he did or not, man.
He didn't like Mike. Mike loved VWs. Mike loved vintage bicycles. Mike had good rock stories. Mike had good recount and had been doing it a long time. And it's like Frank just kind of came along and liked to buy shit and spend money and hang out with him. And he didn't know a lot and he didn't really haggle a lot. And I don't know what he kind of did, except when they were in between takes driving in the van. It was like someone just there for Mike Wolf to talk to.
And kind of pick on a little bit. And yeah. He was, he had some trouble, didn't he, that fella?
He was a conduit for banter, and I guess they got along in the beginning, and then they didn't. Okay, though. R.I.P. roll call. Here's number 2.
Oh, yeah.
And this one happened a few days ago. We have to thank Dave Courtney. He's a guy that's been with us on social for a long time. I didn't know. His name got cut off a little bit, but that's John Ashton. Who cares? It's Taggart from Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, yeah, Taggart.
But Dave Courtney tipped me off on that one. That looks great, Joe. He said, hey, did you guys hear about John Ashton? I'm like, what? No, I didn't know about that. He died on Sunday, and he was in God, I don't have IMDb up, but he did a lot of stuff back in the 70s and 80s and cop shows, and he popped up in a lot of weird roles. His biggest role, though, John Taggart. And in Beverly Hills Cop, he's fantastic. And what's sad, he passed away. He was only 76. He was in Axel F., the brand new one on Netflix.
Oh, the new one, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, here's another big one. This is what's weird. Midnight Run. You remember that with De Niro?
That's a great movie, dude.
Yeah, and Charles, is it Grodin? Charles Grodin? Charles Grodin.
Charles Grodin. Yeah. He's a great actor, too. He's not in a whole lot of stuff, but he's good in the stuff he's in.
Yeah, and he was in there with John Ashton, and he really, did a lot of stuff in the 80s. And I guess they didn't give a cause of death. They said natural or haven't released, but he passed away last Thursday, actually, in Fort Collins, Colorado.
I was looking down through his IMDb. She's Having a Baby. Remember that? That was an old movie from the 80s.
Yeah.
He was in that. He had some sort of a role in that. He was in Hardcastle and McCormick TV show.
Yep. Absolutely.
A-Team. He was in the A-Team?
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
He was Cactus Jack Slater in the A-Team. He's done quite a bit of stuff. That's crazy.
He was good in the photo that we have up that you can see right here. I think that's pretty representative of what he looked like before he passed and what he looked like in Axel F. And you can see not too healthy, because you remember in the first 2 Beverly Hills, the first one especially, Billy couldn't push him up over Victor Maitland's fence.
Yeah.
And he had the slippery shoes on, and he was burning rubber, and Taggart had the suit on, and he was kind of overweight, and he was always out of breath, and Billy was, going all Rambo and running around and all young and full of piss and vinegar, and poor Taggart couldn't keep up. But
that was funny. Yeah.
Yeah. One more. R.I.P. roll call. You'll probably know this name. John Amos.
John Amos. I definitely know this guy.
Yeah, you should know that guy by his face, if not by his name. He was in Good Times. He started out before Good Times in Maude. He was in Roots. He was on 4 or 5 episodes of The Ranch on Netflix with Ashton Kutcher and Deborah Winger and Sam Elliott.
He did ranch work as well, huh?
Yeah, he did a few episodes of that. He was in everything. He would pop up. He would come and go. And John Amos, famous, but no relation to famous Amos.
Okay, that's very funny. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm being serious, because, again, and I don't know what you can say or not say nowadays, but it was a black dude that made cookies. And I think some people see this name and they're like, hey, that guy's famous. Did he make cookies? No, different dude.
That story behind Famous Amos is awesome. That black guy that made those cookies and his story and how it all came about, that was on The Food That Built America on the History Channel, his cookies, because Famous Amos is huge. That brand of cookies is gigantic right now. And he ultimately sold the rights to the company and kept his namesake and I think it was the picture when he first sold it.
The logo.
But he was just a regular, everyday fella that made cookies, and the people in his neighborhood loved him, and they loved the guy, and he was really good at marketing, and that's how that all happened for that fella.
So I ask you this, though. Is that story about Famous Amos, thank you for the share, is that as good as the story that we told about Famous Anus from the Halloween party?
Well, I would love to say that my story on Famous Amos is good, but no, it's not. No, it doesn't even closely compare to that.
And now we mentioned it, and it's the first time we've had a venue to actually talk about it in detail. Joe and I, we went out. We were at the meth lab, correct?
When the Famous Anus popped up?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
Okay.
We were doing a Halloween party.
And we went to Streets of London, and Joe and I hosted. And this beautiful girl showed up, and all she had on was a dental floss bikini that was one piece, like, what do you call those?
I mean, dude, it was
skinny.
I don't even have anything in here.
Dental floss.
It was like string. It was string.
And the costume was this. She had heels on, and she had this one-piece stringlet, and she was up running around, and she bent over, and this is what I'll do here. I'll just show you a picture, okay? This is the picture of what we saw. She bent over, and that's why we called her Famous Anus, because it looked like a bullseye. The string went right through, and
is that her?
Yeah.
What? That is.
Butthole.
That's exposed. The balloon knot is showing.
Yeah. And the string went right down the center. And Joe and I, we stopped, and we both squinted because it was dark, but light enough, because we're behind her on this stage. And I look at Joe, and Joe looks at me, and we're like, what?
She had a fella with her. He was proud as peach pie.
Oh, yeah.
He could have been happier his lady was out showing her balloon knot that night.
Yeah, and so we came back the next day. We said, you've all heard of Famous Amos. Okay, cookies are good, but every now and again, a brownie's nice, too. And so we coined the term Famous Anus. And whoever that girl is, salute.
She was sizzling.
Yeah.
She was hotter than the surface of the... I've never seen a girl that hot
In
just
public.
show her bare butt hole like that ever in my entire life. Not even in porn.
And not even wearing a costume. Okay?
Yeah.
That wasn't a costume. I mean, that was like a porn shoot. And she got up on...
It wasn't even after midnight. It was like 10:15 p.m.
And I believe she won the costume contest because everyone in that club met Famous Anus.
Yeah. Got smacked by their girlfriends and wives. And, how dare you vote for her? Her butthole is showing.
Yeah. I mean, it was as big as the moon, and it was only covered by one string. Everybody saw it.
You don't see
phenomenal.
that every day. That was just something. That was something to see a girl
One
doing
of the
that.
highlights. I've been lucky enough to do lots of things with lots of different porn stars and things throughout my career. That was one I'll always remember. So, Famous Amos.
No, Steven, it did not. I have to say, he said, did it need to be bleached? And I have to say, no, it was, she had a fairly nice backside. I mean, it was crazy that she exposed it, but it was all right.
We do have the comments going. I just saw that, too. Thank you for that, Joe.
Did it need to be bleached?
Well, I do remember, too. You remember the wedding singer when they're sitting down and they're waiting for Julia and Glenn Gulia and Sandler having a conversation, and Adam tells Glenn Gulia when they're at the club, he's like, yeah, but you don't get girls that hot. Glenn's like, yeah, every day of the week. He's like, yeah, but it's been a long time since you've done that. He's like, last night. He goes, not that hot. And he's like, yeah, And they're talking about USDA grade meat. And Adam Sandler says he wants to bite her ass. He's like, USDA grade A meat. Glenn's like, yeah, I've had better. Glenn Gulia.
Terrible.
On to this now. That does conclude today. I haven't done a check, but I think we've covered all the RIP celebs on the roll call.
I think we have as well, man.
We didn't get this yesterday in news, so we'll cover it now because it's like a big deal. Okay. And this is a true story because yesterday my wife and mother-in-law went to the Costco that's closer to my house than P. Diddy's claim. and they didn't go to buy vats of baby oil. They went to get a few things. And my wife called me and said, why is everyone here buying toilet paper and water? Well, her mom told her it's because of this strike and everybody's making a run on paper products and bottled or contained water again. And that's because of the nearly 50,000 members for the International Longshoremen Association, the ILA. They went on strike Tuesday. This is on the East Coast. It focuses mainly in Maine, but it does go Maine to Texas. And when I read this yesterday, they said the biggest goods affected are going to be European goods, stuff that's coming over the pond, cars. You're going to have imported beer, imported foods. Anything that's more European or Eastern based was going to be the most affected. Obviously, you can imagine other things. And I don't know what idiot jumped online and started this, but people quickly, as soon as the strike happened, people on the East Coast were like, hey, I'm at the store. There's no water. There's no toilet paper. They get on TikTok. They get on social, and this thing ripples to about, 1 o'clock when my wife went to Costco. She said everyone there, flats, the flat cart, not the baskets, all the toilet paper gone. All the water that was bottled and packaged, stacked. Everyone there was only buying water and paper products. So
what? Not even really needing it, just again on a whim because they saw it like that.
Yeah, it's again, and I had to refresh my memory this morning. And the psychology of why they did that, because you remember back with COVID, everyone rushed out. Everyone wanted to buy toilet paper. Like, what the why would you buy? And I told you, I go, I'm going to stockpile meat. I went out and bought a bunch of whiskey.
It made him crazy.
I'm going to buy stuff that I can, because I told you, I go, how are you going to poop? I go, you're not going to need to wipe your ass if you can't poop. You need food first. I'll use a sock. I'll use a pillowcase. I'll go out and do it the way the dogs do on the grass. I'll use a towel. We'll wash it. I'll use my hand, okay, and washcloths. I am not going to waste money on toilet paper. That's the last thing I would stockpile.
Ever. I don't understand it. There was literally never a time when you could not walk into the store and get it. It was never all the way gone. I'm just like you. And to see people come out of any store with an entire shopping cart full of toilet paper, you just think to yourself, bah, you sheep.
And no food. Because you're like, my God, why would you need to clean air? Okay? You're not even going to be able to conjure a fart. All right? If you have no proteins or foods in your system.
It's very crazy, dude.
So I went back today to brush up. The psychology was, it's a comfort buy. It's retail therapy. It's affordable. It's something they think they can travel with, and it empowers them to run in.
Comfort buy.
It's a comfort retail therapy type buy, and surrounding themselves in rolls of toilet paper is something that people need because it's affordable. It's not perishable, and they believe also because it's mobile, meaning you got to jump in your truck. Hey, let's grab the toilet paper because you know what? Shit's about to hit the fan, and we might do that to our pants. So we need paper. Grab it, Carl. Let's go. But that's the explanation of the psychology. It's retail therapy, and it's comfort and empowerment through toilet paper.
Through toilet paper, man. I don't get that.
What would you, in a store, what would you stockpile? Like, okay, stuff is going to hit the fan. What are you going to have a cart full of? From a Rayleigh's, a Save Mart, a Costco. What are you overloading on?
Are we talking it's times are going to be lean? We're not going to get any deliveries for a little while?
Well, yeah, let's just say, and I hate to use the word with you, apocalyptic, because you'll go way haywire.
Canned food.
Let's just say it's a time when we think it's going to be needed. What are you going to stockpile?
Canned food, bagged rice, bagged mashed potatoes. I'm going to have to probably get that silk milk because you can cook with it, but yet it lasts for like 2 or 3 or 4. That's something that tells you that stuff ain't all on the level. Milk lasts about a month, if, maybe half a month.
Organic,
That silk.
organic lasts longer than regular, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, a lot longer, dude. Like it's got like a 3-month good date on it now.
Yeah, because it's not dairy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So things like that. Toilet paper, I would never even think about getting. I'd wipe with a shirt before I'd worry about that.
Yeah, I'd use your shirt, or I'd go out and buy a rabbit. Okay, I'd buy a rabbit, but because rabbits, they procreate. You go out and get two rabbits. You got enough toilet paper to last you a lifetime. You just go out at the end of every day and you hose them down. You pick up that rabbit.
Filthy.
I mean, yeah.
Even if it was soft, it would leave little rabbit hairs everywhere. That's awful. You're an awful. That's awful.
For me, the canned goods, great. I think those are going to be the first to go if they're there. Sure. I don't like rice, and I know these are times that are tough. I like buying the flour because you can bake different things if you want that carbohydrate. But I'm stockpiling meat, and I'm going to get as much booze as I can so I can fence it and sell it and trade, because I'm here to tell you, 1 can of Coors Light or Banquet, I'm just talking regular domestic beer, that's got to be good when you can't get one for at least 8 rolls of toilet paper. And I'm kidding, because I'm not doing that trade, but I'm telling you, 1 can of beer, domestic beer, that's good for a lot of stuff when you can't get booze.
Think about a package of cigarettes. Think about a thing of cigars. Think about a can of chewing tobacco, or even a thing of, long chew, like chaw, and any sort of nicotine gum, any of those nicotine lozenges, any of those tiny little liquor bottles that you can see at Walgreens. Those little things that you'll get inside the planes. Dude, people will pay big money for that, for a little tiny bottle of that once it all goes down.
Yeah.
That is what you want.
I'm going booze and beef, and if I can't get the booze, I am stockpiling so much meat, and I don't even care if it's chicken, it's pork. I prefer the beef. I'll find a way to cook or marinate or blanch grass. Okay, I'll find a way.
You can cook grass. You can make grass soup.
Yeah, I'll find a way to trim my leaves. I'll find natural greenery that we typically don't eat to pair up with my dinners, stuff that I've got around the house, as long as it's not poisonous. I'll get my greenery. And you know what? If I can't find carbs, but yeah, those are the 3: booze, maybe some flour, and tons of meat.
I didn't think about flour. You can make bread.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that with flour. You
can make noodles, you can make all your carbohydrate. Again, hopefully they've got that gluten-free meal.
Corn, if you could get just straight corn, you could make, bread and things like that with that too. Yeah, you could, tortillas, all that kind of stuff. But man, I'm going beef. Dude, toilet paper, I don't know. I mean, rethink that one. I don't know why you'd run out of a store with an entire shopping cart full of toilet paper and not 1 pack of cigarettes or 1 bottle of booze
water I get, this day and age that we live in. And I've never really talked about this, but Joe knows this. I live on a river now, and I've got a pump, okay? And I've got about 85 foot of hose, okay? I'm pumping right out of that river. And it's not clean. It's not potable. But you know what? I'll bleach it. I'll run it through the dirt or a gravel pit.
Are you kidding me? You boil that river water. You're fine.
Oh, sure.
Those people on Naked and Afraid drinking out of sinkholes that lions and water buffalo have been essing and peeing in for months on end.
I'm going a little more apocalyptic now. Now I don't have energy. Now I don't. I guess I have campfire because I do have wood, but I don't have power or gas.
Oh, yeah.
For a stove. So I'm just thinking of natural ways to purify this.
You could buy those. You could buy those little pump things. I got one for each family member, and then a backup too, where you can stick that stuff in the sickest, dirtiest, filthiest,
and it cleans it.
And it cleans it. It pulls it out of there, and we've done it with each one of the little filters, and it makes the water in that glass crystal clear.
Hey, I guess there's another thing you can grab. You want to stockpile one of those Brita filter pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, man, you think about things that you're going to be able to use again. You're only going to be able to wipe your butt a couple times, and you ain't, like Dog always teases, you ain't wiping much of that butt if you ain't eating.
No, what are you wiping? There's nothing there. And again, I don't get it, but people are making a run on it. So, and this wasn't supposed to affect us on the best side too much, but yeah, we do get a lot of stuff, but it was supposed to be more imports, but I don't know what it was that triggered the people to run to the toilet paper. But now anytime anything happens, that's what they want. So if you see people at the store stockpiling, that's why. It's because of that longshoreman.
It's just so wild, man. I can't believe that.
Let's see here. Connie says, I would go water, canned goods of any kind, including canned meat. Sorry. Hey, whoa, I love meat, but man, when it's canned, it's different.
Oh, I'll eat canned meat all day and night, dude.
She's going to go with condiments like mayo, milk in a box, anything that doesn't need to be made or kept cold. Again, just so you know, meat when salted, okay, you can rock salt meat, and that's how they used to do it back in the day.
Yeah.
And that's how you age the beef, and then you take the mold and the funk and the decay off, and you've got good meat. It's just like cheese. Now, again, if it's really hot, like what we have here on the West Coast, it's going to deteriorate faster. But again, you salt it and dig a hole and keep that in mud or underground, you're good to go. That meat will last a lifetime. And if you want to dry it and cure it, then it's going to last forever. And you got jerkies, you got beef sticks. So
that's the way to go right there, is to build you a smoker. I see people build them all the time. You probably know how to build one. I guess I would have the kind of basic idea down behind it. What you're going to start a fire that's more smoke and whatnot than heat, right? And you're just going to keep it that way. You're going to use new wood, green wood.
Well, I wouldn't. I wouldn't use green wood, because greens, you don't want the green to over flavor it from the moss or the greenery of it. Oh. But yeah, you don't want a real dry, hotter burning. You want something that does have a little. I would get a different type of wood, like an oak, and I would bury the fire so it doesn't really burn, or hose it down a little bit and make it smolder. But however you want to do it, yeah, you could smoke a ton of meat.
I was going to say, I bet you know how to make a smoke. Those people that do like the shows, the Alone shows, or they're any sort of survival thing. That's one of the first things they always make is a smoker.
My grandpa used to do, I've told you before, pig and goat underground. Lots of people have. And you dig the hole, and you build the fire. And if you want to use banana leaves, you want to use wet burlap, whatever. And, you throw dirt on it and board it up, and it goes for, minimum 8 hours, typically 10 to 12. And you pull that goat, which I'm not a fan of, or that hog out. Either. And that's where you get to eat the hog snout. That whole damn pig, you could eat the toenails, you could eat the eyeballs, everything. It's good.
It just lays on the coals on top of the leaves or the in between.
Well, yeah. Right? So you dig a pit, okay, and you dig it big enough to hold your goat or your hog. It's about 4 feet deep. And people in Hawaii and other countries too, they do them in boxes. You can do it in a box.
Yep, I've seen it done on a box as well.
You dig a hole, you build a fire, all right, and then what you do is you throw a little bit of dirt over to calm that flame. And then what you do is you wrap it in a banana leaf or different type of green, or in damp burlap, and then you put it down in the hole, and then you can put more dirt over it, or you can put a board and put the dirt on top of it. That way, when you're walking by, people don't fall through it.
Right.
And then you let it go for 8 to 12 hours, and then you pull them out, and it is just delectable.
Those the one I saw when they put it on a box, it was like the metal box that they built, they framed up, and then on top of it they put the coals on top of that lid, right?
So it's reversed.
Yeah, that's wild. And then it cooks it through the top, huh?
Yeah. Huh. And it's just a slow cook process. Man. It's like an brick oven, it just radiates the heat.
Yes, they have, Eric.
It's really good.
Eric said Hawaii locals have mastered that, and I said yes, they have. That's where I saw it. They were the Rainies were doing that homestead rescue in Hawaii, and they built a guy something like that. It was they called it the Rainy Roaster, and it was just a big box big enough for a whole pig, and that's how he did it. He made it so he put the coals, 2 big giant piles of coals on top, and he lit them, and the pig was inside. He said, "We'll come back to this thing in about 8 to 12 hours, and it'll be ready to roll."
It's phenomenal. It is phenomenal. Pig or goat underground. To this now. On to funner stuff, since we're talking about pigs and eating apocalyptic stuff and me stockpiling beef.
Mm-hmm.
They call this hot beef commercial. Okay.
I tried to get a picture of this, man. They won't come off of a unlicensed photo, so I could throw it up for them because I think that they want to see what this crap looks like because it looks delicious.
And that's what they say. And this is a Minnesota term. Okay.
Yeah.
And they say this is a lumberjack tradition, and they call it hot beef commercial. Okay.
Hot beef commercial.
Hot beef commercial is what they call it in Minnesota. And I looked at it today.
Okay.
I'm like, that's stupid. That's an open face with gravy. That's all it is. But they call it hot beef commercial. And the only thing really different, they take a piece of white bread, you take potato, mashed potatoes, put it on the bread, then you put your sliced roast beef, then your thick gravy. And people are blown away because they're like, what? Hot beef commercial? That's an open face. That's all it is. And
that's really all, honest to God, that's really all it is. That's what that's what anybody would call this. Yeah.
Or with potato, shit on a shingle.
Yep.
Lots of people called it that.
But I thought that had some small pieces of ham in it.
Yeah, you could probably put carrot, you could probably put some green bean, you put a little more in your potatoes. You're getting more of a gravy stew on top of your bread, with the shingle. I'm Portuguese. We call it soupage, and it's French bread, and it's cabbage and beef, and you put the soupage on the French bread, and then you pour the broth over it. Any way you slice it or call it, it's open face. I've just never heard this, and people all over the internet are, what's a hot beef commercial? And they show you a picture of it. Oh, nicely done, Joe.
Yeah, there you go, dudes. I tried to find it real quickly for you just to see if I can
you slide it? There
there
you go.
There we go. Sorry about that. There you are.
There it is. Well, and that photo there looks like it has bread on top, but you get the point. That's it.
See, it's like they got the combo too. Yeah, they in this one they put their meat on the bottom and the bread, but the way that Dog is talking about it, the bread would be your pie crust, if you will. Your bottom to it. Yeah.
That's it right there. And don't get me wrong. How do you go wrong with potato, bread, gravy, beef?
Oh my gosh, you don't go wrong.
You can't.
Ever. Oh, it's delicious.
But the only thing they did in Minnesota was they went wrong by calling it hot beef commercial. It's just stupid. I don't know what that means.
It doesn't mean anything. It's crazy. I don't know why they call it
hot beef commercial.
It's just nuts.
Maybe it was like a thing that butchers did, or that when you went to the packing plants and the butchers that were, doing some food at the case when they're cutting, maybe it was a commercial type thing, like, oh yeah, he's got a commercial slicer, and they'd slice the roast beef real thin. So maybe that's how it got its name. I don't know. I wasn't even going to read the article because it pissed me off so much. I'm like, that is an open face with gravy. Don't be stupid.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, we've had the S on a shingle my mom and dad made for me and my sister a bunch growing up. That was, like I say, a little different. I feel like that had cut up pieces of ham or something in it.
Well, I think the poop on toast, I always thought it was kind of, you get some peas, some corn, some carrots, and it's typically ground meat with gravy, like hamburger.
Yeah, you could do it that way as well. Yeah, like a goulash, if you will.
Yeah, and then some potato, and then you throw it on bread. I know there's a lot of different variations, but hot beef commercial. Hey, walk in somewhere. Walk into Sizzler today, all right? Go, hey, I want that all-you-can-eat salad bar, and give me 2 hot beef commercials.
They're going to be like, what? Get this guy some help. He needs to be put away for a minute.
And again, you're going to be hard-pressed to even get an open face anywhere. Poor Sam's Hofbräu. You got Tommy's joint in San Francisco. You got to go to a true Hofbräu if you want to get a hot beef commercial or an open faced anymore. It's not something that anyone does because, one, potatoes have carbohydrates in them, and then, oh my God, it's got a gluten base. It's got a gluten foundation. Oh God, with potato and MSG in my packet gravy. It's way too dirty for people nowadays. But I'm here to tell you, you belly up to that dirty open face or hot beef commercial, it'll make your toes twinkle. That damn right there is eating. That's good eating.
Didn't you get one of those at the Hofbräu that time? You got a thing like that, didn't you?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And I don't typically eat a lot of thick brown gravy. I'm more of a dipper, like au jus. I like a thinner broth. But oh my God,
Oh, do
man!
you? You like your gravy? You don't like the thicker gravy? I do.
If it is, it's got to have mushroom and be dark. I'm not a white, you know that. I don't eat B&G. I don't like thick gravies. I like broth. I like dipping in an au jus, and I like a French dip or an open face, and nothing better. That's what sopish is. Sopish, it's Portuguese, and you get it when you go to the festas, and they make vats of it, and it's just cabbage and meat, and you put it on French bread, and it gets all kind of soggy, so it's easily cuttable. It's phenomenal. It's
They call
basically
that's the term sopish. That's the
sopish.
Portuguese term for it.
Yeah. Oh,
Cool.
man. And anyone that's had it, oh, my God. You get a couple of those Festa beers going, and you get some sopish. Yummy. It's been a while since I've had that.
You make it sound good though.
Oh, it's tasty. It's just meat. It's cabbage. It's bread. It is so good.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Weightlifters and runners eat all that. It helps load up for calories, etc.
Oh yeah, I bet they do. I bet
Yeah.
you they do. That would be a protein-packed, calorie-packed little meal right there.
Dylan said he thought we were talking about Arby's.
Oh,
Yuck.
Dylan, don't you twist my arm. Good
Yuck.
night. I'll go over there and get some just roast beef for the ages.
And quickly, since we're doing that, we've never really talked about this. We had a guy, a boss one time. It wasn't the story he worked there, and he said it was liquid. Like they poured the roast beef liquid into a pan, and then it would coagulate and turn
Yeah.
into the.
Yeah, that was that. There ain't no way that was real. He said it came in bags.
It's liquid.
It is liquid, and they would dump it onto the. Oh Lord, have mercy! I just makes me gag when I think about it.
Yeah.
And it would like harden up as if like a like a roast beef pancake.
Oh,
Oh man!
and
I
and
always
now-
remember them cutting it. They used to cut it off of something when I was a kid at Arby's, and then that stopped many years ago.
I never saw it, whether it was Arby's, whether it was Rax, whether it was whatever.
Hey, the Arby's back in Indiana, they had it. They had the roast beef up there. They would cut it off. They would shave it off of that thing.
Well, yeah, when we were young, but after
Yeah.
that stuff fast fooded up, they quit chopping it. That's why now Subway and all the sandwich places are saying fresh sliced, fresh carved. They're all going back. So you're like, so really for the last 40 years, you're and we know this, but it's all been processed. So now that it's a thing that the meat's going to be fresh carved, like off
Right.
a roast, and it's a big, and the kids nowadays are like, what? It's fresh carved. Okay, that's where meat comes from. Okay, that's how pastrami comes. It's in roast form. It's a hunk of meat.
I used to think it was weird when it was up there like that. What is that? A big thing of meat on a spinny?
Why
Why are they
that's beautiful.
shaving it off there like that, Dad? And he goes, "That's the way meat. Oh, that's what they do with roast beef, son. That's good."
Run the Hobart. You got to run the Hobart. Just push that Hobart. Get it
Dude,
in. Just
the
paper
ones in
thin.
Indiana, it was like I don't even know, man. It was maybe like this tall, and it was a chunk of meat, and it had a pole that went up through it, and
Yeah.
it spun in a circle.
That's the rod, and then they'd cut it with the knife.
Yeah, and they would
Yeah.
shave it down, and I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty wicked. Looks like
Yeah,
someone's
so
leg."
that's how they do. Like if you go to Santa Maria too, and you get sirloin block. If you get the top block, they'll bring it in off the rod. Sometimes, a lot of times, they'll slide it off the rod that came off the fire. But you can take that rod, and if you've got a hole on the counter, you put that rod in there, and you could chop it right there hot.
Yep.
and just go to town. And there's a lot of the Mexican joints now and a lot of pop-up stuff I've seen. I don't know why it's back. They did it in the 70s and 80s, but now they're doing the meat cones again at all the taco trucks and these pop-up tents.
Because it
And-
looks cool.
Yeah, and what they do is, so they barbecue it, they smoke that out or grill it, barbecue it, and then they cut the meat, and then they throw it on the flat top with their onions and give it some extra char and mix it all together for your tacos. It's a big thing right now, again.
Sounds yummy.
God damn, I'm hungry.
I know, I am too. After you start talking like that.
Oh, man. There was one thing I wanted to add that escapes me now that you were talking about. Oh, I got to throw this in. Now that we're not on the radio, okay, we're doing a podcast and live stream. I really hate to do this because Arby's could be a potential client at some point.
Yeah, don't dig any holes you want to put them in, because I might like a beef and cheddar down the road.
Okay, I'm just here to tell you I'm out. All right, so Arby's, Joe's your man. Okay, I'm
Oh,
not.
I'll endorse your products all day long. I got the meats. Huh?
Yeah. I don't, and it's not because of you, Arby's, or any other location. And this is why it's so damning.
I love your curly fries.
It's because it's that Madison location with that garden window that had that visqueen waxed windows. You
That's
drive
so
by
gross
that
when
son
you
of a
talk
bitch,
about that.
and it looked like a fat or a roast beef sauna, and it was as if they wiped Vaseline on the windows. No matter how
That's
bad.
how you know you got a good Arby's. There's a lot of meat going through that place.
I've never seen an Arby's with visqueen windows. I don't know if it was taped on there, if it was Vaseline. It was weird. That
was their
Madison Arby's.
sunblock. They did put that on there to block the sun. That was a wall of windows in front right there. That'll cook the roast beef before it ever gets on the grill.
Yeah, so it's cheaper to put Vaseline over the garden window than it is blinds.
Mm-hmm.
That was creepy. I don't know what that was.
That was a little bit off. That didn't look right. Even from the road, you could see it.
We drive by there, Joe, and I'm like, God damn, really? Would you? Because I think you ate there.
Well, I'd go there today.
Yeah, I think you ate there.
If I was in the area and it was open, I'd stop right in.
No, I wouldn't do that. I'd truck right on down to Sunrise, and I'd go to Jim Boy's. I'd go to Alberto's. I was not going near that visqueen Vaseline chamber of hell.
They used to have an Arby's in Rockland. And that was the one you wanted to drive to go to, but I don't think it's there no more, and it broke my heart.
There's not a whole bunch of them.
No.
I mean, they're selling goddamn rhinoceros horn, sandwiches, and they've got yak meat burgers, and I mean, they've got the meats, and it's weird. I couldn't tell you if someone said, "Hey, let's go to Arby's." I wouldn't know even which direction to head. I don't know where one is.
They've got to be making money because they've got that good little voice, dude. That guy that's got his voice just sounds like he's through the roof, and he's no bigger than you or I. I mean, he's just a tiny little fella, and his voice is just, oh yeah, he's just got a huge monster voice. He's just a little bitty dude.
And I'll bet you this, probably hasn't eaten a piece of meat in his life. I guarantee he's a vegan.
He don't look like a vegan.
I've never seen him.
He don't look like one.
Let's get to this, and then we'll get to news. Quickly, chime in with comments on this. What TV show or movie, all right, TV show or movie will you never, ever watch, no matter how many people tell you that you should, or how many people tell you that it's good? What movie or TV show will you never watch? And we only need a couple or you're one, because there's a lot of stuff out there and a lot of people that could go on and on and on. I'll start this.
Okay.
Me,
first of all, what brings this up for you?
I saw people talking about it online, and they were teasing somebody that started this on Reddit, and I started looking at it. I'm like, that's pretty funny, and automatically, they were just having a conversation. It was Reddit or Quora. You know how I love all those chat reports.
Sure. Yeah. You live in there.
Yeah. And I thought, that's Star Wars. I saw the first one, or the fifth one, or whatever order it's in now, back in 77. Had no desire to ever go and continue on. No Return of the Jedi, Return of the Brown Eye. Didn't care. Didn't want to see. No. Hated it. Will not continue. Don't care. And George Lucas is from Modesto, where I'm from. And there should be, American Graffiti. There should be some affiliation and some loyalty and passion to watch his works. Sucks. Star Wars to me is boring.
Huh. Okay, that's a major franchise, too.
I'll never do it. It just doesn't excite me. Too quickly, I'll go to the TV sector now. Breaking Bad. I know it's good. It's highly acclaimed.
I got to think you'd like that one, too. I think you would probably.
And people have said, dude, it's right up your alley. A buddy of mine came to visit when it first came out. We went through 2 or 3 episodes. And we're like, God, this is boring. And people have said, you got to get past that first half season.
It's almost like 7 or 8 episodes in. It starts really getting good.
Have you done it?
Yeah, remember I did it on the AMC weekend many years ago when AMC ran them all. I watched the whole thing from beginning to end that weekend.
Yeah. And I don't know why, and I know it's good in Cranston, and there's nothing wrong with any of it. I'll never do it. And it's kind of, I guess, like the tattoo thing now. I've never had a tattoo, and I'll never get one. And now I guess it's more of a badge of honor not watching it than caving in. Even though on that one's weird, I know I'd like it. I won't. I don't know why. It doesn't bring me in. And quickly, this was a big one when Netflix blew up. Peaky Blinders.
I can't get into it either.
Well, you know I hate accents, and I think there might be some subtitles on it. And if there's not subtitles, there should be, because I couldn't understand it. And this is going back years ago.
And that's a pretty hard hitting rock'em sock'em. That's
what they say.
Yeah, that's right in line with what you should like and the kind of shows I like too.
I can't do it. I cannot do Peaky Blinders. I can't do Breaking Bad, and I will not do Star Wars. I can't do it. And before we get to yours, Joe, that you'll never watch if you have any, Joe loves Gangs of New York.
Love it.
And that's a good early times mafia movie. I love Leo. I think Gangs of New York that's Scorsese. And that's Leo.
Well, it probably is. It's also got that other great actor. His name escapes me right now, but he's the
guy on the other side.
Yeah, he becomes the role of whoever he was in Last of the Mohicans. He played Abraham Lincoln. He
I can't think of his name.
I know. I was hoping that might jog it for you.
Cameron Diaz is in it. Some other people. I hate it. I hate it because of the time in which it takes place, the content, and all the stuff that's there. If that was going on in the the 40s, hell, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, that type of storyline, I could do it. But I just cannot do that. I hate old shit like that and some of the language, and I don't know. And it's a good movie. People love it, but I don't like it. It's one of my worst.
I love it for the way that for that language and those stupid facial hair shavings that the men had back then.
Oh, the big chops?
The lamb chops and the just stupid mustaches, and they just look so damn dumb. Daniel Day-Lewis was his name, is the guy that plays in those
thank
movies.
you. Yeah.
But I like that kind of stuff. But Peaky Blinders for me, it was their dressing. It was the way and my good buddy that I play video games with all the time, he loves the way they dress. He likes that style.
It was kind of that steampunk.
I don't care for that style of dress per se.
It was kind of steampunk colonial cowboy.
Yes, I like the time of dress before it, and I like the time of dress after it. But it was the combining of the two eras that formed that specific genre of how they dressed. I thought it just looked stupid. I hate newsboy caps. I hate them. I think they look dumb. I never have liked them. I'm a man who likes those weird hats. I like Gilligan hats and all that weird stuff like that. But a newsboy press cap, you know what I'm talking about? I just don't like that hat.
You remember I wore one when we went to that party that we had.
Yeah, but you were doing a thing.
Yeah, we had to dress up.
Yeah, you were doing a thing for that time period, In that time period, it looked good. But back then, them dudes that was their fashion. That was their baseball cap.
Well, they didn't know anything about snapback yet. You know? That's how things started.
Or form-fitting.
Let's go through this here. Whoa, this is weird. This person says Yellowstone. They won't watch it.
Oh, really? Why? I wonder.
They didn't say why. I haven't gone back to it. I'll tell you that. I started it. I haven't gone back to it. Cassandra says The Bachelor or anything like it. Steven says Game of Thrones. Ashley says Law and Order. Star Trek, won't do it.
Honey can't do Van Helsing. Oh, Julie, I know. I get Julie's. Look at hers.
Marley and Me.
Yeah. That's bad. You know what that one is?
Yeah, that's Wilson and his dog. And isn't it Jennifer Aniston, too?
I don't know who the girl is in it, but that is the saddest dog movie I've ever seen in my life. That even beats Old Yeller.
Ashley says Indiana Jones. I've never seen it. I'm right there.
Hi, Ashley. I like that. Indiana Jones are great.
Right there with you. Jack Harmon is the exact opposite of Joe. Joe can't stop watching it, but Jack Harmon says he'll never watch the Barbie movie.
Hey, Barbie, come and party. Yeah, I really love the Barbie movie. I'd like to be Ken. I wish I'd have got picked for that role.
Hey, listen to this, Joe. This comment. Sorry, dog. I'll never watch Sopranos. Sorry, Joe. I'll never watch Sons of Anarchy.
Well, you know what? Maybe the person doesn't like
quality content.
Well, just super in your face.
Graphic.
Graphic, because both of those were rough.
Yeah.
So was Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Very rough.
Yeah, they're about equal. Here's the thing, though, that you're going to get out of Sopranos comedy. Again, it's dark comedy. I've seen it 20 times, all 86 episodes, and it gets funnier and funnier and funnier. And there's stuff you miss. It really is a comedy, and it's
You're
graphic.
talking about The Sopranos?
Yeah,
Sopranos?
yeah, it's graphic, and there's language, and it gets vulgar, and it gets evil, but it's funny. Once you get to it, it's a very, very dark comedy. And Sons of Anarchy, I never finished. It started going off the rails for me, and I know Joe, he loved it, and it was good in the beginning.
I liked it because I have many friends who were in bike clubs and kind of hung out and did that lifestyle. And I always liked seeing if it was close, because I pretended to know about bike clubs and all that kind of stuff, but I just have friends that do it. I don't really go to the parties and hang out and know what happens behind the scenes. I just get told and hear stories and things of that nature. So when it started airing, I used to like to ask my buddies, okay, how close? And they're like, you a-hole. It's nothing like that. I mean, there's parts that probably were, but just like anything else, they didn't really show you anything.
They had to Hollywood it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the clock here. I guess we will get to this if we're ready.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of a thing.
Oh, for you.
I don't really, there's not really anything. I mean, I'll try watching anything. I never got into the Harry Potter stuff, and I never really got into the Lord of the Rings. And you would think I would, because those kind of things would be up my alley.
Did you see them all?
Yeah.
So you saw them all, but you're like, okay, I'm good. They weren't really what I thought.
Yeah, weren't really what I thought. And for me, this is going to surprise people. The Transformers movies have gone down as they went along. The first one with the kid who Hollywood kind of cast away, he always gets himself in trouble, Shia LaBeouf. The first one with him, one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. That was the greatest Transformers movie ever. They just got essier and essier and essier as they went down the line.
So it's the quality of the picture, though. You wish they were better because you like the robot car thing, and they should be better.
The whole premise to it and where they were taking it and how they could have done it, and off of Earth, they came back to save Earth. Just all the different directions they could have went. They had prehistoric Transformers that looked like dinosaurs. It was just crazy, and they just got stupider because they got rid of their great key actors.
What's the opposite of a Decepticon?
That would be an Autobot.
Autobot. So are you a Autobot fan or a Decepticon? So you like the good guys?
I like Bumblebee.
Okay.
What's the little yellow card? It's like it's a Charger, but
I thought it was a Camaro.
Or a Camaro, but I always tease and say it's it looks like your Mustang because it's yellow.
What is Optimus Prime? Is he a Decepticon or an Autobot?
Leader of the Autobots. He's a Prime, bro. He's one of the originals. He's a leader. He's the Prime.
Well, that's why it's in his name.
Yeah, they're trying to be a bigger, but no, Optimus killed him.
Okay.
In Revenge of the Fallen.
Let's get to this then. We'll do a little bit of news for you.
This just in, friends.
Here we go, friends. The search for survivors continued yesterday amid the devastation. Before we ended yesterday's podcast, we said the numbers are going to well exceed 130. They're saying now that there's still at least 162 people that are dead and destroyed homes across the southeast from Helene. This is going on. The epicenter, if you will, even though it's not an earthquake, is North Carolina. And roads, hundreds of roads, miles of roads, still inaccessible. 600 people unaccounted for. Every day that goes by now, you know that this is not good.
600 people unaccounted for.
Yeah, and they're saying that this is the second most disastrous ever, but they're thinking by time they get through to the bottom of this and this dries out, it'll probably be the worst.
With all the warning they had too, it's like, golly, you just really, man, you can't, what else could you do?
Carolina,
how do you provide people with any more notice?
South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and Virginia. These are all the states affected. And they say this will probably, when it's done too, be more expensive than Katrina or any of the others we've seen to repair, to rebuild, and get infrastructure back to something that's livable. So, it's terrible.
These babies are coming fast and furious, dudes. They are not letting up, and they are not getting any easier. You know, it's gonna be something we're gonna have to deal with, I think, from here on out.
This is disgusting. I hate to even mention it, but we will. We joked, I think, last week, not joked, but lightly mentioned, P. Diddy, I think, had 16 accusers. We said, hey, don't forget about Weinstein. Don't forget about Cosby. Don't forget about David Copperfield. Don't forget about these other ones that were up in the 60s and 80s. Well, P. Diddy, he likes to do everything big. Diddy now faces new sexual abuse allegations from both men and women from 120 accusers, and there's also a claim coming in from either parents or the actual person from a 9-year-old. We don't know what that entails or what happened, but these are allegations from men and women, and they're saying that there are claims of someone well under age. He's now at 120 accusers, and they think that'll keep growing. So,
my word,
it just keeps getting worse.
Now children.
And again,
I'm done. You know what? I'm done. I'm done with grown-ups doing that. I'm not a violent man, but I'm done with it, man. If you're a child predator, you need to be kicked off this planet. I'm finished with you. I'm done with you.
Wholehearted. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. And again,
I'm sick to my belly with it.
It's an accusation, and now, too, they're saying what's going on in Hollywood is a lot of people that may have had small ties are actually jumping off social media, and they're actually going to other people saying, yeah, I went to the party, this is what I saw.
Because everybody's throwing everybody under the bus. I didn't touch his wiener. He touched his wiener.
Yeah.
I didn't kiss him. He kissed him. He rubbed my butt. I don't know.
They're all coming out to point the finger at someone else or give them more Dirty Diddy laundry on Dirty Diddy. So it's just R. Kelly. We've seen that this just plays out. I mean, every couple of years there's a new one. And right now, as we talk about this, there's another media mogul or sports celebrity, whatever, doing the exact same thing that he's in jail for right now.
It's unbelievable. How famous you want to be? You want to be famous enough to let another man pound you in the backside for a couple of nights and just have a little sleepover over the weekend. Once it's over with, you can have whatever you want. You can be rich.
Well, again, though, hold on. It doesn't go into details of sex, meaning the accusers. These are just people there. It could have been girlfriends. It could have been.
These are the Richies. These are the big names that they'll say.
Mm-hmm.
These are the rumors that you're hearing. He wanted to sleep with such and such basketball star, short little comedian. You know what I mean?
Kevin Hart. Yeah.
Dude. Old Kevin Hart should have been looking around the room when he was over there because they got Kevin Hart got pictures, man. Kevin, you let him take pictures, man. Why do you do that?
Yeah, but see, that's the thing nowadays.
You got photos, little fella.
You would think the first thing that any party that was going to go sideways, you would say, hey, absolutely. Comedians do it at their shows. They want no filming. They want no phone. They want no recording. You would think the first thing you would do if you're going to have a grease off or a freak off or oil up, whatever it was, the first thing you would do is absolutely no admittance with recording equipment and or phone.
Yeah.
And if you want to bring in your devices, you can't come.
It's just wild. They want it so bad. They want to be famous so bad. They want the money so bad. They want people to look at them and smell them and lick them and just
get oiled up
by them. Oh, be in my posse, ride in my car with me. Sure, you can take a piece of my backside when nobody's looking. Why not? Yeah. I want the money.
Hey, I've never tasted Cristal.
Yuck.
I'm not going to say I'm curious, but I'm sure a lot of people out there are.
I'm not. I'm fine being fired and broke.
I don't like that either. California just banned legacy preferences in college admissions. It's a growing trend. We are the second state to do this. Maryland was the first state. And I don't know where I'm at on this because this is different than, what's his name? And what was her name that had to go to jail?
I know you're thinking of it right now because if they did all the different things with pictures and sports and had the daughters that were getting photographed on rowing teams.
Not
and they weren't
Felicity
even
Huffman
rowers.
or what
That
the
was
hell?
one of them. Felicity Huffman was one of them. She was the wife of...
William H. Macy.
There you go.
Is that her name?
That was one couple. The
I don't
other
know.
couple was the one that was from
Oh,
Full
Massimo.
House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Massimo, yeah. So this is a little bit different because this is private schools. And basically what this is if your legacy, meaning you had a family member, more likely father, mother,
Mhm.
or if you're a big donor, they've always given preferential treatment to these people that had parents or donated large sums. Again, this isn't public. This is private.
These are big schools, dudes. Big ones. The
Yep.
biggest.
Well, not necessarily. They're just all privates.
I thought it was like there were Harvards on the list and Princeton's and all kind of stuff on there.
No, right now the only two states doing this
Excuse me.
is like I told you earlier, it's Maryland and California have it on the books, but now they're all meeting. Other states are slowly coming together on this to ban legacy emissions.
Gotcha.
This is different for me because private is private. And if you're going to use the word private, they've got their own rules for a reason. It's Ivy League for a reason. Should anybody be allowed to get in there? No. But should there be a blockade of fortune that goes back decades to disallow people? I don't know. But this isn't public school. My thing is, hey, these are the rich people making the rules. It's private. If it's going to be private, let them make the rules. You got to meet these standards to get in. Okay. It should be the state's hands that are out of this pie because it's not public. But I guess overall it is good. Again,
Does it block other kids from being able to get in? Let's say.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so that's where I would
Sure.
maybe have a small problem.
Well-
because if one kid isn't quite smart enough to be there, but dad or mom went to the college
and
they
they have
get
money.
and they get in ahead of the other kid who is smart enough to be there. That's the only thing that kind of sucks there.
Well, and for forever, there's been so many donors at USC, so many celebrities, and hey, let's build a brick path, and we'll all have parents donate with their names on the bricks, or let's build a volleyball center. Hey, let's build a new basketball court. You do some of that stuff, they give you, whether it's a handshake deal or there's some sort of vaulted paperwork signature, you do something great for the school and lay down 8 to 12 million. That's a lifetime of generational acceptance, typically. And I don't know if I necessarily disagree with it. They're putting up the money. They got the money. And if a grandkid down the road, because granddad built the principal's office, paid for it, I don't know. It's America. There's a lot of blue-collar stuff that's not all that bad sometimes.
That's a tough call on that one.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, if your family shelled out millions of dollars, how do you actually block that and say, no, you don't deserve to go there? I mean, what's a couple $1 million?
Yeah. And,
it's crazy,
Yeah, we all know this. The younger generations are getting dumber by the second. So I think a lot of people wanted to secure their idiot future.
Yeah. Make sure that they get them in there now.
Yeah. This, I guess, good news. We'll just do a couple more and then we'll wrap it up. For those who struggle to find time for daily workouts, according to a new study, says cramming all your exercise in on the weekends may be pretty beneficial. And again, this comes out of the UK, and anytime you look at their teeth, you wonder if anything health-related could be real. But they had 90,000 participants, and they took part in this, and they said, yeah, it does help keep you healthy, even if you're only going at it on the weekends, and you have a lower risk of developing over 200 different diseases if you can only fit your workouts in on the weekends. So something's better than nothing.
I guess so. Yeah. Doing a small amount of it instead of just skipping it all together. I mean, I wish cutting grass counted as a workout.
Well, it would if you got on your hands and knees and used fingernail clippers.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Yeah.
I think we're good. This was 13 episode, that is, on the 2nd of October. Again, thank you for all the comments. Tell us, chime in. Do you like the live cast? Do you like the podcast, the recorded better? Lots of people are tuning into these, and we thank you. So tell us what you think about what we're doing. Give us a temp check. Joe likes his the old-fashioned way. If you're going to check his temperature.
Not all the time, okay? Not all the time.
Okay.
Just when it really matters.
It is most accurate.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
That is what they say. And when you really want to know the truth, accuracy counts.
Yeah. So chime in. We thank you so much. We are all done.
Thank you again very much for hanging out with us today. It's a lot of fun. I do like doing them live like this as well, and it's cool to see you guys comment along as we go through. So it's been pretty cool checking it out. Enjoy your afternoon and rest of the day, whatever it is you're doing, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Play nice.